All right, YouTube, what's going on? So it's a beautiful Saturday night, and just here taking a little break. So I decided I wanted to make another video. I wanted to make a video about just a few things going on. I wanted to do this, and I wanted to kind of ask some questions that I think would be necessary to my audience, because you all have seen my Massachusetts reports. You've all obviously seen that, and you've obviously seen my explosive rants that I've done against Trump. Me, Nicholas, Saber, and everyone else, because we're pissed off about Trump bombing Iran, and for fucking good reason, because, it's just fucking stupid, ridiculous, and downright dangerous. It's warmongering, it's imperialist, and it's retarded. But at the same time, there's a new question that I need to ask my audience that I really would like for everybody to, what they'd like to do. What their opinion is on this matter. And even, yes, this even applies to people outside of Massachusetts, because I want them to know. I want to know. I want them to know this too, and I want them to know my position. But I want to ask them a question at the same time. What should I do about the upcoming 2026 Massachusetts election? You've all seen my videos. You've all seen my videos on Maura Healey. You've all seen my videos about how I talk about how horrible she is, and I still stand by that position. She has been. She's been absolutely horrific, and everything I've said stands by it, notwithstanding what I think of Trump, notwithstanding what I think of them, and everything else. I'm still pissed off at the Democrats, because the Democrats suck as well. But we somehow have a Democrat governor that is the worst that we have ever had or we have ever seen. Because the amount of damage that she has done to our state, it is just at a whole nother level. It's just at a whole nother level. And she's now trying to propose a cable box tax after record high local taxes that have already taken an additional 10% of our spending budget compared to where we were when she first took office. Where the state budget was before she took office, it has grown by 10% at a rate faster than 37 other states. That means Maura Healey raised spending more than 12 other states. Only 12 other states raised spending the way she did, or more. So I acknowledge that she is horrific. Her and her administration has been a catastrophic failure. She has wasted billions of dollars by smuggling migrants and using migrants for her own political advantage, and it's been nothing short of disgusting. This is not about caring for immigrants or migrants or anything like that, and I've stated this position over and over and over again. So if you take this as me saying anything against migrants, it's just absolutely false, and anybody who thinks that, then you need to get off my fucking page, because you obviously don't know what I'm talking about. And if you don't get it by this point, then I highly suggest you take your shit and go elsewhere, because you're not going to fucking find it here. But what I need to figure out is what should I do about this election? Should I just swallow my fucking pride and vote for Mike Keneally? Should I vote for another candidate? Should I write somebody in? What should I do? Because I ain't voting for fucking Maura. I'll tell you that right now. And out of all the times I've spent in New Hampshire, do you honestly think that I want to go to fucking Maura Healey land whenever I'm in office? Because Massachusetts is more than just about Maura Healey. But Maura Healey has turned Massachusetts into Maura Healey land. She has turned our state into a game of Risk. She's turned it into a game of Risk where she uses the citizens of Massachusetts like fucking pawns, because she doesn't respect our tax dollars. She doesn't respect anything. She wastes billions of our dollars on shitty policies, and we have lost jobs and businesses and taxpayers at an alarming rate. So what should we do about this, notwithstanding my view? And here's the thing. Here's the kicker about that whole thing. I don't even know if Mike Keneally is even going to be the nominee. That's the kicker. I don't even know if he's even going to be the nominee. I have no idea. I don't even know if he's going to be the nominee. I have no idea. So I don't know. It could be someone totally different. He could be the nominee. I don't know. Mike Keneally seems to be gaining traction. A lot of his positions criticizing Maura Healey and being very sharp on those criticisms, that actually resonated with me. But when he supported Trump bombing Iran, I was fucking pissed off about it. But that did not soften my view on Maura Healey, though. I still stand by my position that Maura Healey has been an abject disaster. She's been a failure. And the only thing that Maura Healey has led in Massachusetts is failure. She hasn't led in anything anything good. Because she's now proposing a fucking cable box tax where the sales tax is now going to apply to cable boxes. I mean, the news has just recently started talking about that again, but she's been wanting to do that for months now. She's been pushing that down everybody's throat. And this is after she pushed the biggest local tax hikes in history. She now wants to talk about that, and she's proposing something like $6.5 billion in new spending. So after she's already increased spending by 10% at a rate faster than 37 other states, only 12 other states raised spending the way she did. And this comes at a time where people are just not going to stand for it. And all of these measures are resonating with everybody else. Everybody's saying, we don't want to pay more taxes for candy. We don't want to pay more taxes for cable boxes. And you know what that's also going to do? That's also going to drive up the cost of, well, people will just go over the border and get their cable boxes in sales tax-free New Hampshire. They're just going to think, okay, why don't I just go get my cable box over in New Hampshire? I'll just go over there and get it. I'll go up to Maine and get it. I'll go over the Massachusetts line, go over Portsmouth, and then go over into Maine, and I'll end up getting it there. People will end up going there and getting it, whatever. Or if they live out in Western Mass on the border of Vermont, up in Northwestern Mass, they might end up going up to Vermont and ended up going to get it. So, or just anything, candy, anything. Because all that's going to do is that's just going to drive more people to go to other places and get it. Or you'll end up just driving more people out altogether, because ever since Maura Healey's been in office, Massachusetts has been in the top five. Has been in the top five in terms of outbound migration. Has been a top five. We've also been one of the leaders in New England in job losses. So what does that tell you? We've lost jobs. It's Maura Healey's the hostile regulatory environment. It's her surtaxes. It's her local taxes and higher user fees and co-pay fees and junk fees and everything else that has caused us to lose 5,350 small and entrepreneurial businesses. And in 2022, Maura Healey has said in the last election with Jeff Deal 3.5 years ago, she said that she wanted to cut taxes. But what she said then versus what she did after the fact is the complete fucking opposite. She raised record high local taxes that have already taken an additional $7.5 million. That's a 10% increase from where the state budget was before she took office. So it doesn't matter. When you go from a $55 billion budget to a $62 billion budget, it's not a cut, it's an increase. That's how much Maura Healey has raised spending by. Our state budget is greater than 37 other states. So why is that going to happen? And you talk about cutting taxes. Well, where were you when you cut taxes? That's the thing. Why do you say you're going to cut taxes, but then you raise taxes in other areas, and then then after that you decide to push the biggest local tax hikes in history on meals, hotels, and other things? Why did you end up doing that? Did you tell Kim Driscoll about this whole entire thing? No, you didn't. You just decided to push some of the biggest tax hikes in history and make us Taxachusetts all over again. When we shedded our reputation as being Taxachusetts over the last 30 years, Maura Healey just brings it back all over again. She takes Deval Patrick's tax raising, job losing, and then when we lost almost every job and business in the fucking state, Maura Healey decides to bring that back, and she's losing more jobs and businesses. She's losing almost as many as he did. So, like I said before, we didn't have to worry about jobs of the future with Deval Patrick because he ran every job and company out of the fucking Commonwealth just about. But now Maura Healey's doing it at just as fast of a rate as he did during his 8 years in office, or his 8-year record of failure. But Maura Healey's 3.5 years of record, her 3.5-year record of failure has made us worse off, has made our GDP worse off, credit rating drop, our tax competitiveness rate dropped to 41st out of 50 states. We are now the third most expensive state to do business in. We've had only 1.8% economic growth, and our growth as a state ranks 49th out of 50 states. And here's another magical number that has also come up. And this isn't done by surprise. Massachusetts' economic growth has plummeted from 4th to 28th. So what does that tell you? We went from having the 4th largest economy in the nation. Now our economy now ranks 28th. We now rank 28th in the country. That is a 24% ranking drop. Why do you think that is? Because of all these negative policies. Because of the economic growth and all the people in the businesses that are getting up and leaving. You're driving jobs and businesses and companies out of the state, and the results are showing it. That's why our growth has slowed, the credit rating has dropped, our business climate has dropped, our tax competitiveness rate has plummeted, and now we're 49th out of 50 states. Our growth as a state is 49th out of 50 states. That means the population growth is 49th out of 50 states. Only California has grown at a lesser rate. We're dead last in terms of growth. So what am I supposed to do about that? Am I supposed to just sit back and let this failure have another term in office? Am I just going to let our state become a bankrupt state before long? Or do I swallow my pride and say, you know what? As much as I'm pissed off at Mr. Healey, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just sit back and let my state disintegrate? Am I supposed to just sit back and let Massachusetts become Taxachusetts and slip into a fucking recession? Am I supposed to do that? Well, Maura Healey raises some of the biggest taxes in history. Am I supposed to just sit back and take it? Or am I supposed to sit back and just let our growth be sluggish and grow at only 1.8%? And have our rates drop further and further? Am I supposed to just sit back and take it while the rest of New England, while other parts of New England, especially New Hampshire and especially Maine and New Hampshire are kicking our asses right now? New Hampshire especially. New Hampshire has a surplus every single year. They've had a surplus for like 10 years in a row. And we're in a deficit. We are in like a $375 million revenue shortfall and a structural deficit. So we have all of these types of things. Where do you go in terms of that? What do you say about that? Where do you go? Do you go to the other side and say, look, this guy, what he said sucked. I don't like what he said on this issue, but what am I supposed to do? Do I sit back and take it? And now this is what I want people to know. What am I supposed to do about this? Do I just not vote? Do I write someone in? Do I vote for another candidate? Do I do something? I'm not voting for Maura Healey. Because if you think I'm voting for Maura Healey, you got another thing coming. I didn't even vote for her the first time around. And I sure as fucking hell will not vote for her the second time around. No, I am absolutely not going to do that. And not only that, let's also get to her gun laws that she also tried to push and used executive order to shove down people's throats. Now, first of all, I'm all for gun safety laws. And I think Massachusetts has done a very effective job in preventing a lot of the atrocities we've seen in other states. The gun laws have worked for a great number of years. Like, the state has some of the lowest gun death rate in the country. I think the only states that are lower are like maybe Hawaii and maybe some other place. I don't know, but I don't know what the numbers are. Why, instead of that, why don't we invest more in mental health and keeping guns out of the hands of the mentally ill? Because the bill didn't do a whole lot. All it did was just ban guns without a serial number. We've already had those laws on the books for many years. Why are you trying to do it? Oh, yeah, that's right, because it's all smoke and mirrors. Why don't we join the federal NICS system? We could join the federal NICS system, which 40 other states do. Why don't we end up doing that? Why don't we end up doing that? With our big economy, big innovation, everything else, why don't we end up doing that? And why don't we start housing people? That's the other thing. That's the reason why Massachusetts' housing prices are skyrocketing out of control. Because it's getting unaffordable, because Maura Healey's mismanagement is also causing property taxes to go up, which also means home prices go up, insurance go up. Did I say property tax? Property taxes end up going up. So why don't you start housing people and providing people an actual better thing. You know, we have an F rating in terms of the housing production. Massachusetts is the worst state in the country for building new housing or housing startups at this moment. So why don't we end up getting something better? Why don't we roll back this permit, roll back all this red tape so we can start building some more housing and get more housing on the market? I mean, why don't we just do that and get more housing on the market? You start housing more people. You start building on more vacant buildings and preventing all these corporations from buying up these vacant properties and are just buying up all these vacant properties and sitting on them and letting the prices go up and up and up while they get richer and everyone else pays the price. Because that's what it is. It's all about the money. Because they want to do that. They want to push back. Because people are not going to stand for it. They already have a situation where they want to tax you for the amount of miles that you drive. Okay? So it's like it doesn't matter where you drive. They think driving's a luxury. And I'll tell you, that's one of the worst. That's the most unpopular tax hike that they did. It's, you know what the craziest part is? That's not even the worst of the taxes that Maura Healey has pushed. That's not even the one that takes the most money out of people's pockets. But it's actually the most negative one because people are thinking, why should I pay taxes to drive? And it's a luxury. So driving's a luxury. This is how I have to get to and from work. Why should I have to pay more in doing that? When already you got car insurance, vehicular excise tax, and other things. I also think you need to scrap the excise tax. I think the excise tax is one of the worst. Get rid of that. I think we should have repealed the excise tax. That should never exist. I think we should repeal the vehicle excise tax and get rid of it. I think 36 other states or something, 34, 36 other states don't even have an excise tax. Or why don't you just do something like that where you pay like a small registration fee like New Hampshire does? Or why don't you do it like that where other states do it? Now, see, this is what I mean. Where is the common sense in all of this? Why is it that why do you think New Hampshire is booming? New Hampshire is booming because they have lower taxes, lower fees, and people are investing in that, and they're bringing their jobs and companies there. They're thinking, why should I pay all this money in Massachusetts when I can pay half or to a third of what I would pay in Massachusetts, and I can invest here in my entrepreneur and pay all those higher energy costs and all these junk fees and copay fees and all this other stuff that Maura Healey has pushed down the taxpayers' throat, some of the worst in recent memory. They're thinking, why should I do that when I can invest in New Hampshire, I can invest in Maine, I can invest in Rhode Island, I can invest in Delaware, or Virginia, or Florida, or Texas, or North Carolina, or South Carolina, or South Dakota, Ohio, Indiana, or other places, and I can do it with like a third of the price. So, you see, that's another reason. You got to allow that type of thing, because that also is not good for jobs and investment. For people that bring jobs and investment to your neighborhood and to your places. This is the other reason why we have to do it. So with all of that, unfortunately, I hate to say this about my state because it's a state I love. It's a state I've been born and raised in my whole entire life. But we are not doing well. And by the way, all these tax hikes that Maura Healey has pushed down everyone's throat, these record high local taxes that have taken another 10% of the spending budget compared to what it was before she took office. That's like taking away the minimum wage increase. That's like if you're increasing wages, having record high local taxes and taxes in other areas, and all these negative taxes, some of the worst we've seen in recent history. All that does is that just eats away at everybody's costs. That takes away the minimum wage increase. That by default takes away people's take-home pay. So, and people are just not going to stand for it. And how can you sit there and try to get everybody's attention? How can you do this with like what we are seeing in this bill, in this local tax site bill? If you have, say, up to 45, there's hundreds of localities in Massachusetts. So there's 351 cities and towns. Let's say half of them want to raise taxes. Do you understand that'd be 150 tax increases consecutively? Can you just imagine all of that? That is absurd. That is ridiculous. That is absurd beyond imagination. So why should anyone have to pay all that? Well, why should anybody have to pay that. Nobody should have to pay that. Nobody should even do it. It's just like taxing everybody for the air that we breathe. And trust me, that'll be next if we don't get this fucking clown out of office. All Maura Healey has done is made Massachusetts a worse off Massachusetts for almost every person in Massachusetts, including me. You don't think I'm feeling it? You don't think I'm paying more? Of course I am. Of course I am. Of course I'm feeling it. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody that's not a rich donor of Maura Healey, everybody that's not a rich billionaire or near trillionaire, because that's who Maura Healey is defending. She's working with the big corporations and everything else. I mean, that's who she's with. So, is it about time that we have to say enough is enough, and we're not going to agree? But do I do this? Do I say, okay, enough is enough? What do I say? Do I say, if Keneally somehow becomes the nominee, what do I do? Do I sit there and say, the guy pissed me off with a lot of the shit he was saying about, Iran and whatever the fuck else? Do I swallow my pride? Do I just say, okay, I'm only going to do this because I don't want Maura Healey in office? Okay, that's the other thing. Do I write in a different candidate? Do I write somebody in? Do I go to the other side? Do I vote third party? Like,
what's your YouTube?
What's my YouTube? Zach the Celtics guy.
Zach the Celtics.
Zach the ranting guy. Check it out. Thank you. Appreciate it. Somebody asked my channel. Wow, that is awesome. I'm telling you. He knew I was doing that, so probably saw it. But anyway, yeah. That's what I have to ask that question. What should we do? What should we do? Should I do that? Should I have 3 different options? What should I do? But the only thing what we really need is we need new leadership. We need new leadership. We need something better. Something has to give. Something's got to give. We have to be in a position where we got to get taxes lower. Now we have to reduce spending. We can't keep just growing and growing and growing faster than the pace of economic development and long-term growth and growing more than inflation. You can't just keep spending money, and then that money turns up and it's not even going to the priority programs that most people think that they need money for. It's not even going towards anything. It's not even going towards anything that is necessary or going towards anything that's halfway decent. It's going towards the politicians' pockets. That's where the money's going to. It's going towards the politicians' pockets. Where all it's doing is it's filling the donors' pockets. It's not filling us, because I don't feel the effects. I'm not feeling the effects. I'm not feeling a pay increase. I'm not getting better services or anything. I'm not getting any of that. So we have a clear choice. Do we vote for someone who's going to be different? But the only reason I'd be voting for something different is I'm voting for them to lower my fucking taxes. That's the reason why I'd be voting. That's the reason that I'd be voting. And that's the reason I stopped being on the left, too. That's why I became center-right a few months ago or whatever. Because I just got so sick and tired of it. Because I don't want another 4 years of what we had the previous 4 years. But we sure as hell need something different on the economy. That's what we need. And whatever we get, whatever comes after Maura Healey, whoever comes in, whether it's Keneally or there's a few other ones that are in there, Brian something, I think it's like something knee or something. I forget what his name is, but I'd have to go back and look at all the others. But I'll tell you right now, I'm telling you, whoever it's going to be is going to be better than Maura Healey. Mike Keneally might have pissed me off with that issue, but I'm just going to say it right now. The guy is going to be way better than Maura Healey. I can tell you that right now. He may have said something that pissed me off. Trust me, there's a lot of things that Charlie Baker did that pissed me off. I was not a fan of his COVID mandates and everything else. I didn't agree with his views on Israel and all this stuff, fucking piss rail and all this other shit. But guess what? Then he ran our state, and guess what? Massachusetts boomed under him. Same thing with Larry Hogan. Maryland was in one of the best positions it was in when Larry Hogan was in office. Look at how amazing New Hampshire is in under Chris Sununu. And well, obviously now Kelly's continuing his path, the path to prosperity for New Hampshire. Well, Massachusetts slides further down the pike. Well, New Hampshire grows and has a surplus, and recently New Hampshire had a balanced budget, And actually, that they wanted to cut funding for schools. Kelly Ayotte said, we're not going to do that. Governor Ayotte said, we're not going to do that. So we're going to cut that, and we're going to cut that down, and we're going to do that. So we're not going to do that. And then I guess it was a school construction bill or anything else. Or something like that. No, I'm not in favor of cutting that. What I'm in favor of is that we need to cut the bloat. We need to cut the administrative bloat out of our budget. That's the thing that we need to do. We need to cut the administrative bloat out of our budget. We need to all this, waste, fraud, and duplication. And I'm talking real stuff. I'm not talking the Dodge bullshit. They ain't fine shit. I'm not talking about cutting programs themselves. I would never cut programs. I would never cut programs by a single cent. All I'm talking about is that we need to roll back the excessive wealth and duplication and everything else. We need to roll that back so you can let stuff just grow. And something's got to give. You got to do it like that. That's the only way you can do it. The only way that you're going to do it is you got to do it in a balanced way that doesn't keep outpacing inflation and stuff like that. You need to grow it a balanced way and provide tax relief for low and middle income people. Because number one, we have to roll back all of Maura Healey's. If you want to be a successful governor, here's what you got to do. You got to roll back as many of Maura Healey's tax hikes as possible. Revoke the sales tax exemption on, what I mean by that is revoke the sales tax on candy and cable boxes and the local tax site, roll all that back, bring the taxes back to where they were before she took office and destroyed our economy. Do that, and she's the one that's been destroying businesses and jobs and taxpayers' way of life for the past 3.5 years. I started in 2024. I started the Massachusetts report. I started it because I was so frustrated in what Maura Healey was doing to our state and losing so many jobs, losing so many businesses. I got sick and tired of it. When I saw her fight with New Hampshire and disrespecting New Hampshire, try to stick her nose in their business, I started that. It wasn't even an organization, but I started what was it called? Well, it was a segment on the channel. I started a segment on my channel that did that. And that's why I did it. And people are looking for balance. And the question that I have with all of these things that I've been talking about, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Should I just not vote for either one of them? And it depends on the candidate. It doesn't. Mike Healey, he might be the nominee, he might not be. But let's say if he is. What should I do? Should I just not vote? Should I write someone in? Should I just say, you know what, just fucking vote for him because he's a protest vote against Maura Healey? What should I do? Should I do that, or what's my position? I don't know. I might figure it out at a later date, depending on where the election goes, depending on where it goes. But wherever it goes, I'm just going to say whoever the hell it's going to be is going to be better than Maura Healey. That's all I got to say on that subject, because more tax and spend has got to go. And we need to turn Massachusetts around and bring real change to Massachusetts and make Massachusetts a better place for all, because we're falling way short. We're falling way short on economic growth, and we're falling way short on our tax competitiveness rate. We're falling way short in all the sorts of other areas. When we used to be booming, we used to be a big, innovative economy, and now we're just the complete fucking opposite. So what do we do now? We need to vote for something different. We need to get real change to Beacon Hill and do that. That's the only way we're going to do it. And the only way you're going to do it is by getting rid of Maura Healey. And whoever comes after her, I may not like the guy or whatever he said, but I'll tell you right now, it'll sure be a hell of a lot better on he or she, whoever it is, will be a hell of a lot better on the economy. That's pretty much all I'm going to say on that. So leave a comment below, everybody, and tell me what I should do. What should I do? I'm not voting for Maura, that's off the table. Should I do something different? Or what should I do? But anyway, leave your opinion in the comments below. And let me know what you think. And ultimately, whatever I'm going to do, I will never sell out, or I will never say, I'm going to vote, because, I'm going to just go to, I'm going to go to the side of capitalism or something like that. No, that's not what I'm going to, corporatism or corporate giveaways. No, that's never going to be my position. But what I will be doing is I'll be voting for something different on the economy. But that's all I'm going to be doing. But let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about all of it. And I will be back on Monday with my next video. So look out for that. Other stuff in the works. Thank you all for watching and tuning in. It looks like someone here who is visiting here, looked like here, or someone who was either visiting. I don't think he lives here, but it was who just happened to come by while I was recording this. Apparently, he ended up asking me, what's my YouTube channel? So I guess I got someone who's going to check me out. So yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good to me. Anyways, thank you all for watching, everybody. I'll be back on Monday with my next stream and more videos coming up soon. Have yourselves a good one. Stay safe, stay well, stay classy, keep fighting, keep on rocking, take care of yourselves and all each other. And I'll see you comrades in the next one. But let me know what you think. What should I do? Should I end up doing one of those things? I got some options. But let me know what you think the best decision is, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys in my next stream on Monday, and more videos coming out soon. Until then, bye for now. Have yourselves a good one, everybody. Signing off for now. See you all next time. Peace, and so long.